The 2024 Italian Grand Prix at Monza was a spectacle that will be remembered as one of the most thrilling races of the season. Under the intense September sun, Charles Leclerc claimed a stunning victory on Ferrari's home soil, holding off a fierce challenge from the McLaren duo of Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris. The atmosphere was electric, with the passionate Tifosi packing the grandstands, waving their red flags, and chanting for Ferrari. The race had everything: drama, strategy, and a dash of unpredictability, making it a classic in the storied history of Monza. The race weekend began with high expectations, especially for McLaren, who had locked out the front row in a tightly contested qualifying session. Lando Norris secured pole position, narrowly edging out his teammate Oscar Piastri, with Charles Leclerc starting in third. As the lights went out, Norris made a clean getaway, leading into the first corner, while Piastri and Leclerc followed closely. However, the order soon changed as Piastri seized his opportunity at the second chicane, diving past Norris to take the lead. Leclerc, always a formidable competitor at Monza, soon passed Norris as well, moving into second place. The opening lap saw a flurry of activity, with drivers jostling for position and several incidents catching the attention of the stewards. George Russell, who started in fourth, locked up going into the first turn, forcing him to take to the escape road and drop down the order. Meanwhile, Daniel Ricciardo and Nico Hülkenberg had a coming together, resulting in Hülkenberg being pushed into the gravel. This incident set the tone for a challenging day for both drivers, with penalties and setbacks to follow. As the race settled into a rhythm, the focus shifted to strategy. The high temperatures and Pirelli's prediction that a one-stop strategy could be viable added a layer of intrigue. Ferrari, in particular, took a bold approach by opting for a one-stop strategy for both Leclerc and Carlos Sainz. This decision was a gamble, especially given the high levels of tire degradation seen throughout the weekend. McLaren, on the other hand, played it safe with a two-stop strategy for both Piastri and Norris, aiming to keep their drivers in the fight till the very end. Leclerc's pit stop timing became a pivotal moment in the race. He pitted shortly after Norris, hoping to avoid the undercut, but found himself rejoining the track just behind the McLaren. Frustration was evident as Leclerc voiced his displeasure over the radio, knowing that the undercut had worked against him. However, his disappointment was short-lived as he quickly regained his composure and set about closing the gap to Piastri. By the midpoint of the race, Piastri had built a comfortable lead of over 3 seconds, with Leclerc and Norris chasing him down. Meanwhile, Sainz, who had been leading before his pit stop, found himself in fourth, struggling to maintain pace on his aging tires. Behind him, Lewis Hamilton, in what was rumored to be his final Monza race before a move to Ferrari next season, was pushing hard in fifth, trying to stay within striking distance. The race's turning point came in the final stint. As Piastri's tires began to wear, Leclerc's gamble on a one-stop strategy started to pay off. The Ferrari driver began to close in on the McLaren, inching closer with each lap. Sainz, meanwhile, was under immense pressure from Norris, who was on fresher tires and eager to climb back into the podium positions. With 10 laps to go, the tension was palpable as the battle for the lead intensified. Piastri's lead dwindled to under 2 seconds as Leclerc continued his relentless pursuit. Sainz, unable to hold off the faster McLaren of Norris, eventually conceded third place. Norris, now in a podium position, set his sights on his teammate, hoping to close the gap and potentially challenge for the win. However, Leclerc, driven by the cheers of the Tifosi and the desire to repeat his 2019 triumph, found an extra gear, managing his tires perfectly to maintain his lead. As the race entered its final laps, the gap between Leclerc and Piastri remained just over 2 seconds. The McLaren driver pushed hard, but it became clear that Leclerc had enough in hand to secure the victory. The sight of the Scarlet Ferrari leading at Monza sent the crowd into a frenzy, with the Tifosi cheering every time Leclerc passed by. When he crossed the finish line, the grandstands erupted in celebration. Leclerc had done it again, delivering a masterful drive to take his 7th career victory and his 2nd at Monza. Piastri finished second, just 2.6 seconds behind, capping off an impressive weekend for the young Australian. Norris completed the podium in third, adding an extra point for setting the fastest lap of the race. Despite not winning, it was a strong result for McLaren, who showed that they are serious contenders this season. Sainz finished fourth on his 30th birthday, a result that was perhaps a little disappointing given Ferrari's hopes, but still a solid finish for the Spaniard. Hamilton crossed the line in fifth, in what could be his final race at Monza with Mercedes. The British driver gave it his all but could not quite match the pace of the front runners. Max Verstappen, who started the race from 7th, finished 6th, salvaging some points on what was a difficult day for Red Bull. George Russell, despite his early troubles, recovered to finish 7th, ahead of Sergio Perez in 8th. Williams' Alex Albon and Haas's Kevin Magnussen rounded out the top 10, both drivers putting in solid performances to score valuable points. The 2024 Italian Grand Prix was a race that had it all: strategy, overtakes, and a thrilling fight for the lead. For Leclerc and Ferrari, it was a day of jubilation as they celebrated a famous victory at their home Grand Prix. As the Italian national anthem played and the red smoke filled the air, the sense of history and tradition at Monza was palpable. This race was not just a win for Leclerc, it was a triumph for Ferrari and their passionate fans, a reminder of why Monza is known as the Temple of Speed.